Hello everyone and welcome to today's Stocks and Crypto YouTube Charts video. I am No FOMO Charts. Today is Friday, April 11, 2025, just about before 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome everyone. This is a swing trading and investing charts YouTube channel. Let's start off with earnings releases in the stock market upcoming this week. We have Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, Citigroup, Interactive Brokers, United Airlines, Abbott Labs, Prologis, Alcoa, United Health Group, American Express, and State Street, just to name a few. USA economic data, we have retail sales, core retail sales, Fed Chair Powell's speech, unemployment claims, and manufacturing index. Stock market earnings season continues, very volatile right now in the markets. President Trump tariffs. He paused a majority of the tariffs for 90 days. However, the China tariffs and a few global tariffs are still ongoing. We have 145% China tariffs, 25% steel, aluminum, and autos, 25% auto parts starting May 3rd, 25% Canada, 10% Mexico only for non-USMCA goods, and 10% tariffs on all other imports. China then retaliated with tariffs up to 125% against the USA. However, Trump is optimistic China will make a tariff deal, and the news is hinting that China might make a tariff deal with the EU first, European Union. President Trump signed a resolution to overturn IRS DeFi broker rule for crypto websites and wallets. And the SEC and Ripple filed a joint motion to pause appeals in the XRP lawsuit case. Markets, very volatile. Let's start off with stocks. S&P 500 on the daily chart. We have been in the downtrend since February 2025. We lost key level of support at 552. Market gapping down for 3 days last week. We did find a short-term level of support, which used to be a previous level of support in April 2024. Stopped there because some of the news changed. We had a pivot point because President Trump paused tariffs, and we had a wild several trading sessions. Best Green Day gave back half the gains, and then we're holding again. Most likely because we have a combination of good inflation data and some tariffs pausing. However, this is very choppy market action. It's very reminiscent and similar to the pandemic crash. Not quite as extreme, but it's a similar mentality. The market right now did not crash this much, 36%, but we did have government intervention. It's actually government's cause and government intervention from start to finish. So the resistance I'm looking at right now is 551. Support that we're holding underneath, we cannot go below 521. 3 easy levels: resistance, support, and another support. We could put a top resistance up here, just we have 4 levels, 575. That's all I'm really looking at. And so for the price, because we've been in a downtrend, we have to maintain a pivot trend change to get investors excited about the market. Because not every person in America is excited about the CPI, PPI inflation data like I am, or other investors and traders. Everyone is concerned about tariffs, prices, inflation, their portfolios. So for people to get really excited again, can't really test these lows too much because we already tested it. 496 minimum we need to hold to try to get a trend change, but it's going to take a quarter, 3 months. We're heading right into earnings season right now. Nasdaq, QQQ. We hit this 50% level, 398, and we bounced off of it. So technical analysis helps to identify levels of potential support and resistance and trend. Where are we going from here? Let's put that Fibonacci back up. From bottom of December 2022 to the top of February 2025. Still in the downtrend. since February. We can draw a diagonal trend line until we break above this yellow trend line. Market's not really going to get that excited or happy. The great thing was that stocks were cheaper for about 1 month, especially 1 week. So we bounced off those lows. Now, can we maintain this momentum that's actually been building? It oversold on the RSI, hit a 50% Dow Jones zone retrace almost. Need to establish a higher low above 433 to maintain the momentum. If we have a breakout, it's not really sometimes the best time to buy because sometimes it'll pull back. This is something I'm watching out for. Will we recover in the next 2 quarters or not? Dow Jones hit most of the targets, not the extreme 2 targets on the bottom. This is where Fibonacci really helps, in my opinion. 2020 low to 2025 high. We pierced that 236, but if we change the Fibonacci to about the 2023 low, right into the 618. I'm going to leave it here on the 2022 pivot because I believe this is probably more of a Dow Jones retrace at the 50% zone. Did we finish the target? 7% to the downside. Definitely hit that target. So it's still in a downtrend. Yes, we hit oversold conditions. If we pull up a Bollinger Band and linear regression, like I was saying last time, sometimes when we get down here, for the past 100 days, it's actually really oversold there, regardless of what the RSI is telling me. It actually was under 30. But even if I didn't have that oscillator or anything down here pulled open, sometimes I like to use Bollinger Band and linear regression channel indicators to understand where's relative oversold and then where is relative overbought, which is not showing in this picture. But if we look at gold, for example, really quickly, we see relative overbought, that we gapped up out of that channel. So it can help. Dow Jones, again, we have to hold above 394 to have any meaningful bounce. Honestly, all these indexes are going to be very similar. We can either double bottom, upside down head and shoulders, trend change, or consolidate to the side. If we keep crashing, that would mean something really bad happens with tariffs or deals or government or anything like that. But it feels like a lot of that fear has subsided because of the pause for 90 days, but need to remain on our toes, meaning we have to be cautious. Russell 2000 gave back most of its gains since 2024, Fibonacci low to high. Almost tapping. This is a nice key level of support above 163 that I'm watching. And if we continue to hold that, we're playing between this range right now. Small caps like the IWM ETF, these companies, the small caps sometimes can be a early indicator. If we get some kind of bounce here, then it might be an early sign that a recovery might be underway. But I'm not seeing extreme price pattern. It gets so choppy down here that I feel like we actually might even just consolidate. That's what it feels like on the charts. Moving faster, the VIX had some of the most extreme swings that I've seen in a long time. It actually hasn't happened like this for many, many years. Maybe the last time was August 2024, but I was trying to trade the VIX. It was kind of tough because it was, whipsawing, whiplashing every single day. We have green, then red, then green, then red. So sometimes if I don't get in early enough on the trade, like my first trade, shorting the market, then subsequent trades, when they start getting too high, it's just, at a certain point, I just stop trading the VIX. But it's just something to understand is trend. It's giving us a subtle early warning sign here in March, high, higher, low. And then I shorted from here 3 days. It was great. But trying to chase it or trying to continually trade this was not fun at all, right? That was not fun. So sometimes just got to let go. Let's go to gold. Gold having its breakout. Amazing. So what are the signs and symptoms that we can learn from this stock ETF is ascending triangle breakout, rally in the uptrend. We have this pullback dip, and then it got too oversold, and then 3 days of gap up. Gold options was amazing, but however, Bollinger Band and linear regression, it's floating outside in an island top. It might have a pullback anywhere gap fill down to 292. I'm watching for that. Silver, this is what I'm saying. Remember last week I was saying, wow, all of these ETFs or stocks are so oversold. We can see here, the Bollinger Band in the white, linear regression in the yellow. We're down in the oversold zone. And then what happens when there's any good news or short squeeze? It's up 8%. We look at copper as well. Copper using just a couple indicators, even turning off the EMAs because I know it's below the 200 red EMA. Bollinger Band oversold for 3 days. Risky to try to buy it on the, the crash, the 4-day gap down. But once we got down here, this first Monday when I got stopped out into profit, then it started feeling like, oh, we might reverse. We might reverse. And that comes from experience from trading, day trading as well. If you're a market open trader, a day trader, you know this setup happens. That sometimes we have in the pre-market, it gaps up or rallies up. Right when the market opens, we crash down. At some point here, once you start seeing the level 2 or the order book or candles start having Doge effect, meaning up, down, and then it closes. And then the volume, look at this volume. That was a very key indicator. High volume and then no volume, basically, or very average volume. And then the big flip happened. Just a lesson there. Remember on copper, I am really liking this Bollinger Band linear regression combo for oversold and overbought conditions. Meaning, is it really high or is it really low in the past 100 days? And that gives me some kind of indication. Sometimes if I only use a Bollinger Band, any one of these two early ones, I might get stopped out on those. So linear regression is kind of like a safety net for me. I need to get extreme, and then that's probably the last day or couple of days before it's going to crash. Or when it's extreme down here, there's like 3 days down here before we flipped around. Trying to catch the absolute bottom, that's tough. But if I'm close enough, right? Or the other option is just skip because there's no trend, right? On copper, there's a clear uptrend, and this is just capitulation crash. So I can tell really disciplined traders didn't really try to catch that bottom. They just want to make sure it's not going to crash forever. Okay, let's go to crypto. Total crypto market cap is still in its downtrend. And we had basically a bullish momentum, a bullish divergence reversal. Where can we see it on charts? I don't use all these indicators all the time, but I just happen to have it open, doing some back testing. So yes, I understand we are in the death cross on total. However, on the squeeze indicator, I'm starting to see bullish momentum. And on the stochastic RSI, it's oversold with a double bottom right on April 9. April 8, 7, 8, 9. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week making this video. There is actually bullish momentum on the RSI as well and on the MACD signal line. So these 4 indicators were saying there could be a possible bounce on crypto, even though we're in the downtrend, and that's exactly what happened. Rallied up 8%. It's beautiful. So then once we go to Bitcoin had the similar setup. So to give an idea of my process, I like to use Bitcoin as an example because a lot of people still trade crypto. Is first I identify the trend, just looking at price and volume. Sometimes I just use a line chart because I don't like the colors sometimes or candles. If there's too much red or too much green, it actually affects my mental my mindset, my psychology about trading. So sometimes I like to just put on a white or gray, just some neutral color that has no meaning. I like white because it's really easy to see. And then I identify trend. Are we going uptrend, sideways, or downtrend? And we are in a downtrend right now since February 2025. However, once we start to get almost like a double bottom type of looking, or we have one low, a swing high, and then another lower low, I know from experience and research and practice and experience trading that means sometime at some point in that second lower low or even the third lower low, we might get a reversal bounce. So I long crypto. Closed down my stocks, short, then I long crypto. So I missed some stock gains, but I'm still in crypto. It's okay for me. Can't win everything, right? Just have to be positioned for the next move. Now, 2024, if I really don't have time, pull up a Fibonacci and use this 50% retrace. And so because it's testing it for the second time, because we're not crashing down to the 618 level here in $72,000 Bitcoin, and look at this volume, right? That's the key that maybe I want to buy something right now. If there is no green volume, it'd probably crash down here. Then I'll still buy down here at 70,000. So it's just a matter of what's my setup. My setup is not this. I'll highlight it. This is not a setup for me. Red, red, red. 3 black crows in candle pattern speak. Or just 3 red candles in a row. That's not a setup. No, thank you. I'm out of there. No, thank you. Hammer candle? Maybe. Maybe. And this is actually when I made my best Cardano trade. But for me right now, just one candle down, hammer maybe, and then that got rejected, pierced down. That's not enough for me. I have to take in a totality. I need like a month of data or maybe 3 months, and then I start to see this bullish momentum. That's my mindset. That's how my strategy works. Ethereum, unfortunately, Ethereum's having a really hard time right now, down 60% because Solana is the more popular meme coin. And honestly, Bitcoin and Ethereum is just kind of getting old. It's the second cryptocurrency ever made, I believe, that got popular. The only good thing I can say is it's getting to a oversold zone. Oversold zone here on the daily chart. And I'm starting to see, keyword starting to see bullish momentum building. You could see it on the squeeze. The second one is in the formation of the momentum, and it's oversold and it's double bottomed, or it was oversold on stochastic, and I can see this momentum's building. So Ethereum could crash a little bit more, maybe even to 1300s, pull up a pivot to get some ideas. The next pivot down is 1300 before it might try to bounce attempt up to 2000. That's just my opinion. It has to break above this trend line for that to actually happen. But once it does, I believe that crypto traders are going to bounce on it. They're going to hop on it because we're kind of waiting for it to happen. Solana is very similar. I want to point out last week when I said $100 Solana might be the bounce spot, it's right within $4 of that target, and it bounced 26%. So just having patience and not letting the news affect my mind so much is just do my own charting, do my own research, do my own work to prepare. That's the hardest part sometimes, is just putting in the work when the news is saying this or that. Either they're too afraid or too bullish. Just got to put in my own work and believe in my own research that I've done all these years. So even if I Fibonacci this from 2023 to the high of 2025, is 2 years of data. We tapped right into that 618. Look at this huge squeeze momentum. The RSI is oversold, bullish momentum on RSI and MACD. This is the setup. Now the question is, for the next month, I'm actually long Solana. Will it break out, retest, and trend change? Because this was risky to buy. Remember, aggressive trading, a downtrend, just keep going down. But this is one of my setups, plus there's a hammer candle as well. So there's like 5 signals, 6 signals for me. I have to do something, so I longed it. Now I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting now. Put a line in the sand, if I had to, $110. If we hold above that, there's a high chance we might break out on this one, but just be careful. We rejected down from this trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th time that we're testing this right now. So just in case it doesn't break out, if tariff news changes, we could crash back down to 97, 96. Watch out for that. Dogecoin. Dogecoin caught my attention this past week because of the very similar setup. I like how it's so low, the price. from this recent high, we are 66% off. I like the sound of that for crypto. I don't want to be up here trying to scalp right up here at 49 cents. That's not good enough for me. I need really oversold conditions. That's where the best crypto gains are. We lost the 618. Okay, no problem. We lost that 618. Happens. What's the next level of support? There's a trend line here around 13. Remember I said like a couple weeks ago, 14 cents, 10 cents, 7 cents. I'm start thinking about buying. So I bought some Dogecoin because I like this setup. This is risky trade. It's not really reversing yet, but sometimes I like to try to catch that. I'm not catching a falling knife. I'm trying to get into the support zone. I don't want to say catch. So I like this bounce on RSI momentum. So I'm long Dogecoin as well. And I believe my target could go to about 22 cents. That's what I'm looking at. Shiba Inu, very interesting. What caught my eye in Shiba Inu this last week on the weekly chart, I believe it's at some kind of support zone area. Not quite a perfect one. But let's put it up on the chart so everyone can see. There is something there. It's very similar to Dogecoin. It's oversold to a point. 60% off. It could keep dropping 20 to 30%, but I'm starting to buy a little bit here just because I like this weekly oversold. I like it. But again, it's early. This is the first turnaround. This happened about a year ago. And so it's risky play, but I'm in. It could keep going down. If it does, I have to wait. And then once I see it consolidate and then start to reverse, I'm going to go more. I'm going to buy more. But I'm starting to see it. I feel it. It's crashing. And then you start to see it a little bit going sideways and then double bottom here above 1100. So I'm long Shiba Inu. Not quite. I missed the bottom, but I'm still in. Because if this even retraces halfway or 25%, that's like a 50% gain. Opportunity on SHIB if it survives. All right. So I just want to end on a couple stocks. I forgot to do them. So let's just look very quickly. Apple. Before I go too deep here into analysis, let's just see. Price from the all-time high of 24 to the tariff crash we just had last week. It was 34% off, and then it gained 9% back. So it's 23% down from its all-time high. Nvidia, similar analysis, is down 40%. My gosh. And then it bounced up 13%. Now it's down 27%. Still in the downtrend, however. All of these are. So the most conservative investor is not really excited about this, but aggressive traders or people who just like to buy cheap stocks, cheaper discounted stocks, we had a nice time. It's fearful. It feels really bad. It felt so bad last week, but I have to buy it somewhere. Very simply, sometimes if I can't make a decision, I just think about, okay, stocks, Microsoft. Do I want to buy it at a relative high or relative low? Sometimes the answer is simpler than I think or feel. I need to buy relative lows. Low. It just depends what stock out of thousands of stocks or ETFs am I going to buy. Google, similar, 30% down and then a 10% bounce, but still in a massive downtrend. So people are not going to get excited in these two circles until the price starts to stabilize and go up like here. This is where I went long Google last year and then I reaped all this nice gains. That was kind of an earnings play. But besides that, it's still angling down. People are not that happy. Now, Tesla, on the other hand, Elon Musk, he did change. I don't like to talk about people too much on the internet, but all I'm saying is it's notable because of what he said. He was changing his stance on tariffs and such. So to me, that's kind of helped the Tesla stock stop from dropping and then at least go sideways. So there's a chance. I'm looking ahead here to Tesla April 22 earnings Because why do I like Tesla? It's not really about political issues. It's more about the price action on Tesla is just incredible. Just think about this for a second. I mean, we could just look at it. In October 2024, because of the Trump trade, Tesla went up 100%. And then once it hit its all-time high in December 2024, it crashed down negative 50%. That is the volatility that most traders desire. Because there's 2 times Tesla ETFs, bull and bear, that exists. TSLQ and TSLL. There's also options, green options, basic call options, or put options for Tesla as well. It's such a tradable stock that a lot of people like trading it. So that's why I give it so much thought, because it's a very highly traded stock. And so it's starting to consolidate to the side. Some of the oscillators, there was some large momentum here. Very similar to get some of this bullish momentum, and at least it held this 207 level. Very nice gains for anybody who caught that last big green one on Tesla. It's like 20 to 40% gain. It's what people want. Meta on the downtrend is kind of painful to see, but let's just, for an example, I haven't looked at this in a little bit. Let's look at the linear regression Bollinger Band. This is what I'm saying. It's up here. You know what? Just to prove a point, let me bar replay, because I want to show people. The indicator repaints, so that's why I don't really push it onto people, meaning the indicator redraws itself as the candle moves. So linear regression moves, it changes every single day. So there was an oversold bounce and a Bollinger Band squeeze, and we're starting to consolidate, and it breaks out. Now, where the linear regression fails, in my opinion, channel fails, is when it starts to consolidate, because it's not clear where's the lowest low versus relative high. So you just have to wait for it to start trending. Okay. Now, once it starts trending, I want to see either a huge dip below or a gap up above. We had this relative Bollinger Band low, and now let's see when it really gaps out. Tap that ceiling. Earnings coming into play, holding that Bollinger Band choppy a little bit. This is close. This is getting close, though, to the setup. Very close. Bollinger Band almost outside that linear regression. But we held it. And then see this gap up, rally up. Ooh, double bottom on the price. Very nice. Double top on the price, consolidating sideways, breakout. And then, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Once it starts to get extreme, I don't use linear regression every single day. It's just I check to see, all right, when is it getting extreme? It's not always the top, but I know at some point it's going to reverse. So for example, let's just put in like 100. Let's use a really large number. 1,000 units short. And I think this is not the top, but I have to get some kind of target open. Let's try to target 6%. Not quite yet. It's going up. It's going up. It's so high. It's whoa, right? So, okay. Let's pretend I missed it. Let's just short here. And then see what happens. Crash, crash, crash. Holding. Okay, it's about to hit my target. I'm out. Right? So this is how I use the linear regression and Bollinger Band. It's not always perfect, because if you study Bollinger Bands, the first one, it takes a while for it to reverse. It doesn't, unless it's extreme gap up and then like a V shape, like an island top like this and come back down. But I like to use it like that for put options. I'm starting to really use it. And now here we can see sometimes, though, when we have a crash, this bottom in an uptrend, when it's usually good conditions, can be a reversal signal. But we ended up crashing pretty hard in the market. But let's still see if we catch the bottom here. Still bounced. Okay, but then it's going to crash. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I missed it on 3x. Let's rewind a little bit. Select the bar. I'm just going to replay this because this just happened in real life. It's starting to sell off, but already this hammer candle is giving me signs that what's happening. In the past 100 days, this price is way below abnormal. Like above 2 standard deviations outside of the expected range. So if I'm aggressive trader, Meta, in my mind, this is just an example, is like almost 20% off, 19% off. Okay. If it goes down a little bit more, I'll just buy some. Okay. I'll put on 1x speed. Now I see, oh, it's actually, it's starting to lose a little bit of momentum. This volume's increasing. I could take a trade here if I wanted to. I could. 1 ATR, let's see, is about 4%. Okay, let's do that. Buy it. 1 ATR. So maybe I'll target 2 ATR or 1.5 ATR as the upside target, which would be about right here, percent. And then we go. Oh, gap up. If anyone bought options on Tuesday, it was just incredible. And see if it's gonna go down. Is it gonna reverse on me? Okay, so this is what I'm saying is sometimes trying to buy the bottom can be catastrophic because sometimes it's too early. Like what if I bought here? I can't keep dollar cost averaging DCA. I can't keep averaging in. You just have to take a stand at some point and put a little bit of risk on. But if I open up other oscillators, might have timed it a little better on this side of the squeeze, waiting for momentum a little bit, or wait for our side to actually make a move of momentum. We're still in the money here, and then I'm just going to put a stop loss just below this gap, maybe right here, just so I don't lose anything on this trade, and then let it go. All right, and then we stopped here in real life. So this trade would actually be green. I would definitely move the stop loss up, putting a trailing stop loss, just in case, like on Sunday, if some bad news comes out and they dump again. So that's why it's been really difficult trading right now. It's actually been better for having a mindset of a day trader, meaning it's not about chasing penny stocks, but it's all about the news right now. And another option for people another choice is, while this is happening, as a long trader, I don't have to do anything here. If I was cash and I'm looking for a long setup, none of these are really a good long setup, to be honest. This is not really the greatest price action I've ever seen. The momentum was building. That's why we had reversal, volume, news change. But I'm not super excited about this. The only thing is it was negative 20% off Meta in 35 days. That's like Black Friday sale on iPhones or computers. You get 20% off. Somebody's going to buy that. Somebody's going to buy it. It's just a matter of, can we sustain the rally? Big question is, are tariffs over? The majority of tariffs? Well, at least we get a pause for 90 days. Are we going to get more tariffs for the rest of this year? Or can we make some trade deals and negotiations with countries? That's my mindset. If the news starts to get good, the CPI, PPI inflation data that people might not be paying attention to right now is actually good. Okay, it's great. The best case scenario I could think of is if President Trump kind of backs off on tariffs or relaxes it a little bit, and then the FOMC at some point, if they cut interest rates, that's going to be huge for the market. If earnings are actually decent, at least for Q1 earnings, 2025, hopefully some companies are decent, but we might have a chance here at a reversal. That's what I'm looking at. But remember, things can go bad in any 3-day news cycle. Anything bad could happen. So my line in the sand, which is drawn on every stock, is the pivot point we just bounced off of for almost every stock of crypto. And then maybe the gap that it bounced, pierced through. Those are the two support levels. The resistances are kind of easier to see because you just look left, you can see there's some levels here, or use pivot points to get some kind of relative zones where the price might sell off. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it. If you liked it or learned something from this video, go and click subscribe, hit the like button, leave a nice comment. request, and I'll see you in the next video.